What is up, Team Eternal? Welcome to another EPL Eternal Logos podcast. We're back in the studio. Nice, good session we're about to have tonight. I'm super excited about what we're going to talk about tonight. One of my really good buddies who I met in the gym, another good gym buddy, episodes and episodes ago last year. I would always say that when I had people who I met in the gym. But here we go again. Somebody from the gym. We've known each other for a good 2 years plus at this point.
Yeah, man.
So I'm really excited to have him. This has been something we've been trying to do for a little while now. We've always had good conversations. The first time we met, we had a really, really good conversation. And so I knew then I would have to get him on the podcast, and we're finally here. So let's have a good session. Hopefully you guys are sitting home comfortably wherever you are. If you're driving, listen to the podcast. As always, thank you. We appreciate you. We love you. Make sure you, like we always say, commenting is mandatory. Liking and subscription is optional. But hopefully you enjoy the episode. My buddy Chris is in the house. What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
Dude, I'm so excited about this.
Man, it's good to be here, man. I know we've been talking about this for, a couple of years now. And I remember when you mentioned it, I sat with it for a long time because I was like, man, I could just go on and on and on about some stuff that I've kind of sat in the back seat and kind of like watched.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a couple of things. There's some things it's going to get some thoughts going. Okay. It's going to get some thoughts going.
That's what I just said, I love the idea of commenting. To me is mandatory because I want to start the conversation. I want people to talk. I want people to really give thought to what we're talking about. And
no, absolutely. 100%.
Get in the layers. You know what I mean? This podcast is always everybody who's been watching so far and who's been on this journey with me. So just it's about truth, right? What can be discovered in truth and using conversations that we have on a daily basis that tend to be hot topics that people are generally interested in, right? And so so let's get into it. We will introduce a topic. We always do that. Flip the ceremonial hourglass for whatever reason. Ever since I bought this, I've been like, I forget to flip it. So this time will be perfectly on. Before we do that, give a chance to introduce yourself, plug your social media, whatever it is, you're promoting something, whatever you're doing. Anybody. First off, also let me say, I met him in the gym. If I have a question from personal training, physical training, holistic training, nutrition, I go to him. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yo, that's wild. Yo, I'm Chris Levi. I run 360 Health and Performance. Go check me out over at 360 HP. And something that I don't really talk a lot about is that when I started in being like a fitness professional, it wasn't my idea.
Interesting.
It wasn't even my idea. I wasn't even trying to be like a full-time trainer. I actually started working people out in 2002.
Really?
And so, the very first person I ever worked with, man, I hope she doesn't mind me like throwing her name out there, but her name's Danielle McLean. If you ever in Detroit, Michigan, Mount Clemens, Michigan to be exact, and you need some massage therapy, man, she is the one to go to. So this is what happened. I got a concussion. I had my second concussion at that time, and so I was getting really bad migraines, right? And so her and I were working out at the same gym, okay? And so I was working out and she was doing something and she just happened to just come talk to me. It was like, hey man, I know your brother. I met your brother and blah, blah, blah. He said that you played sports or whatever. And I was like, yeah. And so she's like, I see you in here all the time. And so she was playing semi-pro football at the time. And so she was doing massage therapy during the day and playing, on the weekends. And so she was like, look, I want to get a little bit faster. I want to get a little bit better on the field. But can you just kind of give me some pointers? And she's like, I heard you were really fast and da da da. And so, that was the first person I ever trained. And so we just traded off because
that's awesome.
She would do cranial work on me.
Yeah.
Because so my first concussion was a blow to the forehead, ground. I got undercut. Going to the basket. Yeah. I know I got undercut going to the basket. And so then my second one was a blow from the backboard, just the back of the head. And so the migraines I used to have was all like near the occipital lobe. And so she used to like work through the back, and man, magic hands. Let me tell you,
Listen,
magic hands.
I tell people I'm a professional massagee. Like I am very good at getting massages. I love massages. I used to do them twice a month, and I need to get back to that because that's if you're into physical training and you train or you're an athlete, massages, man.
You know what? I'll even say this too. Like she taught me a lot, even when it comes from like, you know, the perspective of trigger points, but even just how it manipulates the body, your body's response to it, right? Like she taught me a lot. There's a lot of things I learned from her. So that was like a really good time in my life. But like I said, like, you know, that was just a trade.
Yeah.
I wasn't even trying to do it full time. I was actually working construction. I was a roofer back then.
Wow.
So like, you know, personal training wasn't even on my brain. It wasn't until I moved to Colorado because I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, right? And then so moved to Denver, 2007, and through some way I started coaching basketball. And so they're the ones who were like, hey, we want you to take over the strength and conditioning for the basketball program. And I was like, bet. And so for me, you know, I'm like, yeah, you know, like I played, I know what it looks like. But one of the guys had like a really bad injury. And I was like, I think I'm gonna need a little more education on this if I'm really gonna take this serious. And so I did. So I went to National Personal Training Institute, right? Went through NASM, got my certification through them. Went to MPTI, so I learned all the anatomy, physiology, biomechanics, all that work. And so I started working with the basketball program. So I'm taking all my education, I'm applying it, I'm programming for the entire team. And then, you know, I got some, you know, parents who were just like, hey, can you like work with him one-on-one, like in the gym? Because like, we really like what you're doing. And I was like, yeah, of course. And so it was just, you know, one by one. Next thing you know, I had, you know, 9 kids that I'm like doing one-on-one stuff with. Then I'm doing the team stuff. And then of course, like, you know, they asked me to do bench work. So I'm like, well, what do you mean? They're like, well, can you come sit on the bench like during the games? And I was like, okay. So then I start, you know, sitting on the bench, and then they started asking me like, so what'd you think of the game? What we could have. So anyways, so I went down this whole entire road, and I was not trying to be a personal trainer. Like I wasn't, it wasn't even in the script for me. It wasn't until the following season, I'm doing my preseason stuff with the guys. They're lifting, whatever. And I had 2 parents come up to me, and they said, hey, what are you doing? I was like, just, you know, I'm getting ready to work out. And they're like, can we talk to you for a second? I was like, uh-oh. Yeah. You know, parents coming, you know, they coming straight to you. They're not talking, they just talking, they come to you.
Beeline.
I'm like, all right, yeah, okay. So they're like, look, we really like you a lot, and we think highly of you, but our kids think super highly of you. And they're telling us about what you're doing, and they were just like, is this like your business? And I was like, no. They're like, it should be. And I was like, well, what do you mean? They're like, I don't think you realize like the impact that you're having on these kids. It's like, I was like, okay, well, yeah, like, you know, they're getting stronger, they're getting faster. Like, no. You know, we're seeing a difference, like even at home, just like their mindset, just their mentality, how they're approaching homework now, and how they're approaching their eating and activity levels. Cool. Like they're not sitting on video. Like they're just like, you really need to do something with this. And that's when I sat there and I was like, wow, okay. I didn't think that it would be that impactful. Yeah. To be honest. Like I really just didn't. I didn't think it was gonna be that impactful. Awesome, I was just like, yo, like we just, you know, lifting and hooping, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, they really approached me about it. And so
nice.
That's when I was like, all right, well,
rest is kind of history.
Yeah. I mean, the rest is kind of history. Like some doors opened up, and you know, the company I was working for at the time, the corporate company I was working for, they had like this big layoff, and I was like, you know what? Okay. And so I did. And it's been history since then. Man,
that's awesome. Especially considering that, like I said, anything, like seriously, like he really knows a lot about the body and your training method and how you go about doing it is awesome. It's holistic. It's thoughtful. You're not chasing a specific thing. You're not chasing an Instagram follow, right? You're really actually giving it thought. You're considering who you're talking to. You tailor your stuff, and that's just awesome to me. So knowing that you haven't been doing it that long to me is so impressive, because it means that you gained a lot in a short amount of time. That it could be a whole nother podcast in and of itself, I'm sure, and talking about all of the things that you just mentioned and some of the things that we could talk about just in that alone, and growth. And
I'll even add to that too, because like from a programming standpoint, I don't think a lot of individuals, when you're looking at personal training, right, a lot of the marketing that you see is, putting on muscle, snatching the waist, big old butt, right? Like that's really that's the marketing, right? Like everybody's attacking that. And we talked about this. You remember that we talked about this. We talked about how the industry itself will take advantage of the insecurities of individuals, right? Like most individuals that have insecurities, especially from a physical standpoint, right, they're looking to either get bigger muscles. Most men are like, hey, I need a bigger chest, or I need a bigger this, right? And then women are trying to lose weight because societally they've been told like, hey, skinny is the thing, which is shifting a little bit now, right? Like the muscle mommy and things of that sort, right? But like the booty, right? Like a lot of the sex appeal stuff. So is, like that's where the marketing goes when it comes to the personal training. So when you're in it, like for me, when I dove in it from an educational standpoint, I wanted to approach it that way. I was intentional about my education and the way that I approached what I was learning. And this is a conversation I had with, two female friends of mine who I knew from swing dancing, but we're not going to get into that right now. That's a whole other thing, right?
Episode 3 with Chris.
That's
swing
a
dance.
whole other thing, man. Like I was big into dancing.
That's awesome.
I learned how to Lindy Hop. I learned how to East Coast. So like these are two friends of mine that were like, okay, Chris, like what do you do? And I was like, well, I got approached, and two people think I should do this. So like, what are your thoughts on it? And they're like, why don't you work us? And I was like, okay, cool. And so I started training them on the side and really loved what I was doing. But I was sharing with them, I didn't want to have this emphasis on weight loss. I didn't want to have an emphasis on the booty or emphasis on this. Like, I want to help people, right? And my friends who are, basketball coaches or hoop, they all know me like this. I never wanted to be considered, when I stepped on the court, a 3-point shooter. Actually, it used to actually drive me crazy. When I would step on the court and the coach would be like, hey, shooter. I'm like, nah, bro, I can do way more than just shoot. Like, I'm going to blow past. Like, okay, yep. Just keep talking. Keep talking, because I'm just going to unleash the entire arsenal. Right? And I approach fitness the same way. I don't want to be... I love kettlebells, okay? You will notice when you jump on and you go find me, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, you see it. You will see me with a kettlebell a lot, because that's just where I'm at in my life, right? Like, that's the one thing that's keeping me from being bored, just to keep it real. Because I've been lifting for so long. I've put on muscle. I've done the bodybuilding pieces, and I've done that for a while. So it's like, I needed to change. So you'll see me with the kettlebell. So when people call me the kettlebell guy in the gym, it drives me insane. It's just like calling me a shooter on the court. It drives me nuts, because I'm way more than that. I can do more than that. So, when it came to like getting educated, I learned all the aspects of each specific category. Weight loss, these are the things you're looking for when it comes to weight loss. Bodybuilding, these are the things you're looking for. I mean, the bodybuilding stuff I learned from an actual bodybuilder. So, I had that in my arsenal. When it came to cardiorespiratory training, I've looked at that. And of course, like I ran track and field. So there are some aspects I understood, but then like when you start learning deeper into how the entire cardiovascular system works, how the neuromuscular system like operates, how these, things work together in conjunction to kind of keep us like performing at higher levels, then it's like, changes the entire game.
Yeah.
So I wanted all of these. I wanted all these aspects. I wanted to know it, and I wanted to know it because I always knew, it's kind of like the same, like my approach in basketball, right? Like my dad used to teach me, take what the defense gives you.
And my dad used to say the same thing.
Take what the defense gives you. Don't fit yourself in a box and think that you can only just take shots. You can only shoot from this side, or you can only do this and that. Like if they're not giving you the shot, drive, right? Yep. It's the same thing. When you get a client, you might be like, oh yeah, I only work with bodybuilders, but this person might be a bodybuilder, but they got a knee injury, but they got a torn labrum.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're taking this medication, they're taking that medication. So it's like you need to learn enough to where you know how to manipulate the entire system, right? Because a lot of these, a lot of your programs I kind of see them as like, algebraic equations, right? They all have a variable. So each individual person, you might have a whole entire setup, but an individual person comes in, you need to switch your variables and you know how to do that, right? And so for me, like I said, when my approach from an educational standpoint to personal training, I needed to be able to have enough context to where no matter who comes in front of me, I knew what variables to place where. I knew how to manipulate the system. I knew how to like pivot and maneuver around people and still help them get the results they need to get.
Dude, that is a good, like seriously, like we can go into so many things about that, but that was a long introduction into check Chris out because Chris is amazing. No, seriously, like definitely thank you for dropping that knowledge because again, there's a lot of layers there, but that's what you do, who he is.
Yeah.
So check out his page. We'll make sure the Instagram and all that stuff is in the description.
Yeah.
I say that to say that we will introduce the actual topic. We can continue there if you want to. If that's where you want to go, we can 100% do that. But I want to say I did not forget. So as soon as you introduce the topic,
I looked at it a couple times. I was like, wait, we supposed to flip
That's why I'm specifically saying introduction because I made a promise that I would miss this time. All right. So what do you want to talk about?
I mean, we can just go from there. I mean, let's just start with what 360 is.
All right.
Let's just start there and see where we go.
There we go. Bam. Let's rock. What is 360? Actually,
so,
that's a good question.
360 was created from, how do I say this? 360 was basically created from a concept that I learned as a vehicle designer in college. I know.
I love it.
Let's not. We won't go there either. Right? Swing dancing, vehicle designer. We can leave those along. Roofing,
I love the breadcrumbs you can drop. And you're like, wait, so how many things?
Yeah. So I went to school to be a vehicle designer, placed second in the entire program, and had an internship with GM that kind of blew up because of financial reasons with GM. So what I learned there is that you can't get a true perspective and translate it to someone else, meaning like in a blueprint, right? You can't give them you can't give them a true picture unless you have 3 dimensions. So you have to look at it from 3 different views.
Actually, but hold that thought real fast because there's one thing I forgot. You guys probably, if this was live, you guys would be lighting the chat up right now. I always also like to ask people what their worldview is, right? To just give a quick synopsis of what your worldview is. Some people Christian, some people are, that's important because it really helps to contextualize where a person's coming from. So, see, I knew I was going to forget something. One of these days, we're going to get it perfectly right.
Man.
Yeah. And then continue your thought. But I'll
leave it at this. Yes, I am a Christian. I was raised a Christian. I'll never change that. That's not going anywhere ever in my life.
There you go. Christians in the house represent.
Not even, it doesn't even matter what happens or what you say to me. Like, it's never going to be shaken because the impact that it's had on my life. And I'll be honest, some very real moments with the Lord, like I'll never be able to shake it. I'll never forget it, and there's nothing that can shake it from me. So,
all right. Perfect. We did get it. So you guys know where he's coming from. Boom. All right. Continue your thought. 360.
So, anyway, so the perspective, right? So in vehicle design, you had to give 3 perspective: front view, aerial view, and then side view, right? When I was working full time as a paraeducator, I worked in severe special needs as well. I was assistant teaching in the health class. And so when I was talking to the health teacher, I was like, so what are we going over today? And she's like, the health sandwich. And I was like, what? And she's like, you never heard of that? And I was like, nah. She's like, I was surprised. And I'm like, well, they didn't teach me that. You teach me that. And she's like, look, you basically take it like this. She's like, it's 3 layers. And I was like, okay, 3D imaging. All right, cool. And she was like, physical health, mental health, social health, and how they intertwine and connect and impact each layer. And I was like,
interesting.
You just solved a huge problem, because at that time I was like, man, I really want a brand. Like, I don't want to just be another personal trainer. Like, I want this to be bigger than just exercising and working out. Like, not that that's a bad thing, but like, it had to be bigger than that. Like, we had to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to have some sort of a movement behind it. And so when she said that, I was like, yo, I like that. And so I I kept that in the back of my head. And I'll never forget this. I will never forget this. I'll never forget. She would have the students do a mental health check-in once a week. Yeah. Once a week, she had the students do a mental health check-in. And I remember just watching one particular student who initially his check-ins were kind of low. And so they would do things to just kind of like encourage them and build them up, not just in health class, but in PE. So the PE teacher and the health teacher, they would just kind of like communicate with each other. Like, hey, he's kind of like low. Hey, he's kind of, he's going through this or whatever. And so to see how his physical health and his mental health would just like, you could see from his numbers and the data points, like the encouragement, but then like him be more like physically active in PE, because people would encourage him. Community, like the kids would like create a community around him. Like, come on, you can do this, and And then you would see in health class, like his numbers would go up, right? And so for me, I was like, that's interesting. I didn't really think about it like that. And so, you know, like that was like the social aspect right there, right? Like now he's getting community. Now he's getting support. Now he's getting friends. Now he wants to be more physically active because of that. And now, because of that, his numbers are going up mental health wise. See his numbers going up. And then we also noticed that his grades were do better. He started doing better on tests. So it was just like, it was so mind blowing for me. And I remember just telling my sister, I was like, you gotta listen to this.
That's kind of it. Yeah.
You gotta listen to this.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, I want to rebrand. I got these 3 dimensions. I was telling her, and she's like, well, okay, well, what about 360? And I was like, yeah, yep, we're running with it. We're running with it. 360, you know, me and basketball, you know, so you say 360 in my head. I'm like, we running it. Yep, we running it. So, you know, and so her and I got in this like kind of a more in-depth stuff about just like this, the representation of 60 itself. But that's where the 3 comes from. That's where the 3 comes from. And so when you start looking at the number 3 and how these things are intertwined, it's like you said, it becomes holistic at the end of the day. And not to be confused though with like holistic medicine and those practices.
I was going to say that earlier, like not to be confused. I know it's most likely different where you're coming from, but you know, you explaining that, you know, for sure.
Yeah. So when I'm working with people, I try to encourage people not to stay in a particular season too long. And what I mean that is when you're going to go bodybuild, right? Let's say you want to put on some muscle. I encourage people to like, okay, 6 to 8 weeks, do that, but switch it up. right? Because the way our actions go from our body, right? Brain, neurons, muscle, right? We can train all three of those sectors through exercise. So I challenge people all the time, like, all right, don't just bodybuild. All right, don't just power lift, right? Like, go do some stabilization stuff. Go do some balance work. Go do some slow time under tension. Go and do these other things, because these are all going to feed into one another at some point. And it's going to benefit the overall movement, right? And then it's going to benefit the overall movement efficiency. Right? So when you say holistic, it's like, yeah, man, like there's so much that like continues that you can feed into. So when even, for example, NASM, the organization that I run my certification through, I love that organization. There are some people who really just don't like it because it is a little sciencey. I'm a little bit of a nerd. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a straight nerd. I am a nerd. I was the dude that people would be like, hey, what's the answer? What's the answer for that? In math class? Oh, straight up. Math class, I got to a point, football players come in. Oh, yeah, that's right. Y'all had a game. Never mind. I got you. Right? Like, that's how it just was. But I'm a nerd. I love that stuff. I love science, whatever. So, NASM, super science-based, right? Takes you, I think that it's the closest certification. Nope. Let me rephrase that. It's one of the closest certifications that connect you from the world of physical therapy and physio to the fitness. Like, it's one of it's that that certification kind of fits right in the gap. Yeah. Okay. Now there's a couple other ones, like Brooke Bush Institute is a really good one. Lord have mercy. That's a really good one. But that's only for if you love science. That is it. Yeah. If you love science, like those two are the ones. So NASM has what's called the OPT model, right? And so it's basically like 6-layer steps when it comes to order of operations when you're exercising, or when you're not exercising, but basically like when you're programming or building towards something. Okay. And so, your first 2 levels, stabilization, your second 3 is strength related, and then your last 2 are power related. And that's also part of the 360, right? So I kind of like, added that key component in there, because without stability, you're not going to get much bigger. I know. I said it. I don't have any studies on it. Yeah. I don't have any studies. If you need me to come pull some stuff, I'll pull it up. But without stabilization, you won't get much bigger, because the stabilization phase is primarily for proprioception, which means that your body is basically telling your brain like where you're at in space, how you're handling space, right? If there's a red flag anywhere, it's not going to try and force you to get that much stronger, because that's where injuries will come in down the road. Right? So if you're unstable, it's really, really, really hard to get bigger. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so actually I have a question. I'm taking notes because, again, knowledge dropping over here. But if you relate it to an injury more specifically, right, maybe to flesh out this idea so it's a little more clear. When you get, and we're not trained to, and I'm not a personal trainer by any stretch of imagination. I've been doing it long enough to where I can. He could be. I mean, we just need to just get him some, But I know enough because I've been doing it long enough that I know what to do to get results. Yeah. But I'll tell people all the time, like, okay, if you're not focusing on good technique, that'll lead to injury. And when you're working out, when you're tired, you start to work other things that you shouldn't be working, right? Because you're tired. It's just the body and brain's natural way of relieving stress from a certain area, right? In a way, right? So if in relation to an injury, if you get injured, what you're saying is you won't get bigger if you don't have stabilization, right? So if we were to blow it up and say, if you're injured, your body and your brain will literally
prevent you from doing the thing that's injured because your body's trying to stay away from pain, so to speak.
100%.
Right. So is that kind of connected in that way? So you're saying like if you don't have stabilization, your brain won't allow you to.
You always do this to me.
Right.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm trying not to nerd out, y'all. All right. Look, your body has sensory input. Okay. Mechanical sensories, right? Like mechanical receptors, sorry. Your GTO, muscle spindles, right? So all of these things are giving your brain feedback, right? So some of these are attached to the ends of your muscle and ends of your tendons, right? So it recognizes when there is an injury. It recognizes if there is instability. It recognizes that. It's literally giving your brain feedback. So if you do have issues, especially, let's say a knee is having an issue, like your body's going to respond.
Yeah.
And it's not, and truthfully, like when you get to the point of pain, that's almost like your body's last resort.
Yeah,
like, hey, I'm hurting, bro. Wake, hello, I'm hurting. I'm hurting. Yeah. Can you do something about this? Right?
Yep.
But like before that, your body's giving feedback leading up to that. It's giving feedback. So when you're doing stabilization work, when you're doing control work, right? When you're doing slow eccentrics, right? Like these things is helping, right? It's like helping that communication out. Yeah. Because one of the things that you'll see, especially when it comes to physical therapists, is like as they are progressing people, right? They want them to take it slow. They want them to go slow. It is to protect them, but also on the back end, right? Your body will basically, we can watch your body kind of show whether or not your injury is better or worse. Depends on what your body does in that moment. So that's why you take it slow. Because if you're taking it slow and then there's still problem there, the feedback that comes from the body and the brain will stop it.
Yeah.
So you'll get stuck. So like if somebody who has a knee injury, I don't really know. I don't have the X-ray in front of me. I don't have the MRI in front of me. They don't have an MRI for like another 2 weeks. They're doing a slow squat. I'm looking at the body's response system.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Let's see what's going on.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So take it slow because I need enough time for this communication to happen, and I need the brain to be like, okay, shut it down, and then I'll see it shut it down. And then I'm going, all right, we're not there yet. Let's move on to something else.
Yeah. That's so fascinating because obviously that's related to healing as well. Like you said, the physical therapy. So, okay. The word I was looking for earlier was compensate. Like your body will compensate in other ways, right? Which will tell a person like, okay, usually the knee moves like this, but if I tell you to move it in a normal way, if you move it in this more awkward pattern, right? It doesn't go straight up and down if you move it to the, I don't know what I'm talking about necessarily, but hypothetically, if you are supposed to lift your knee up like that, but it slightly goes to the left and bows out like that, you're like, okay, well, there must be something going on because it's not a natural movement, right? So it's like you're saying, like your brain is telling you that something's wrong, even if you don't feel it, i.e. pain, right? There's something going on, and that's what you're saying stabilization is for. What I find so fascinating about this, though, is that when you are in physical therapy, if you've ever had to do physical therapy, I think, and you'll be able to flesh this out much more than I will be able to. So I'm super curious of what you think. When you're doing physical therapy, taking it slow, but you're not just training your body on how to move again. You're really behind the scenes training your brain on how to make your body move again, if that makes sense.
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna throw this word out there.
Potentially with some new, if you had to get some kind of surgery repair where you have like a screw or something or something in your body, right? Like there's obviously that element. But I'm super curious to know what you think about that because this is really fascinating.
It's basically like a recalibration, right? So I mean, really, it is. It's almost like pressing. Like okay, I'll say it like this. It's not necessarily pressing the power button on your Nintendo, the original Nintendo, right? You're not pressing the power button, and then turn it back on. you're just hitting the reset button. So you're basically just like recalibrating the system. You see what I'm saying? So it's you're retraining the entire system to go through its process, right? And so if you've ever noticed too, like a lot of the things that they do in physical therapy isn't just musculoskeletal stuff.
Right.
I mean, they'll tell you like, oh yeah, this is for your glutes and this is for your quads and blah, blah, blah. But what they don't tell you is like, well, we're going to have you do these isos because we need your tendon to catch up to your muscle. Yeah.
That makes sense.
We need why are you doing this? Well, your fascia is restricting your shoulder blade from being able to full range of motion. It's not the muscle itself, it's the fascia that's connected. And you're like, wait, what? So yeah, it's literally a recalibration of the entire system.
Yeah. That's it's so cool, man, because I love like just being able to get into, and this is what the whole podcast is about, just being able to get into anything and discover, and we're going to wrap this all the way back around and have it linked to something I'm hoping that you won't even see coming. Like we're going to make this going to be like a layer deep into your
I hope so.
Physical,
I hope so.
Human, philosophical psychology. But what's cool about that, though, is that you'll hear people oftentimes when they go get like physical therapy or they need something healed, they'll do something. You go get some shoulder pain and it'll relieve pain down here. And that's obviously related probably more so to your neurological system and your nerves.
Yeah.
I remember when I was getting physical therapy for my thumb. So I tore a ligament in my thumb.
Okay.
And I remember having moments where it doesn't make sense in your brain. Like, I'm like, my fingers should be moving like this because I've moved it like that my whole life. For 20 years, it's moved like that. But I can't quite understand why. And it doesn't hurt. It just doesn't work the way that you expect it to. The weirdest thing about this injury is I tore the ligament. And so how I discovered this, so I played football in college and we were doing spring training. And we were running some drills. We were having a competition. We were running and doing a relay race. And I went to touch the ground and my finger got caught. I never touched with my left. That was a mistake. I never touched with my left, but I was just going so fast.
It happens all the time.
Thumb got bent back. Didn't know I tore a ligament. So 2 days later, I'm in my dorm room and I'm doing homework, and I lean back in my chair all the time when I do homework. So I lean back in my chair and I go to grab my desk when I lean back, and I couldn't hold myself up with my left hand. I was like, well, that's weird. Again, it didn't hurt. It felt like a sprain, like when you sprain it, you get a little bit of that residual. It's not pain, but it's just it's a little weird feeling. So I was like, okay, well, this is a little strange. Let me go talk to the trainer. So I would go talk to the trainer, Coach Greg, if you ever listen to this. Love you, dude. So I went to go talk to him, told him what happened, and he basically was like, all right, we're going to take you through some tests. So he takes me to his office. He puts a book on the ground, a textbook. And he says, pick it up with your left hand. I couldn't pick it up. It's the weirdest thing. It's so weird because as you're talking about this, I know exactly what it feels like physically to think you can do something but can't.
And I'm going to say this real fast too.
Yep.
That's why assessments are important when it comes to personal training, being a physical therapist, being an athletic trainer. That's why assessments are so important, because sometimes you have individuals with very high pain tolerances. So it takes a lot longer for that pain receptor to kick in and for the individual themselves to be like, oh, I'm in pain.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so yeah, like you said, like, you walk in, you're like, I don't think I really did anything.
Exactly.
You take them through the assessments because that's what they're there for.
Exactly.
They're there for. They will kind of guide also and be like, oh, yeah, you probably got this going on.
Yeah. And that's where the professionals come into play, right? Because going through those motions, one of the other tests he did, I had to hold my finger like that, and he just took his thumb and it was open up. After that, he was like, yep, you need surgery. No MRI. He's like, yep, you need surgery. I know exactly what you did.
Yep.
I was like, okay, well, that's interesting.
Yep.
So it's just, and in therapy, just going through that, it was just so interesting to me how the brain's disconnection of you physically, something not working, and just the feeling of what it feels like to be disconnected from the thing that it's almost you hear people say like people who maybe get like their limbs cut off, they think they have a hand but they don't, and it's just a very weird, awkward thing for your brain to think something that's supposed to do something but not. It's really hard to explain. So if you ever have experienced this, if you've ever been injured or you've like rolled your ankle, right? It's kind of like that, but pain's associated, so it makes more sense.
Pain is,
but when it's not painful, that's when it's really weird.
So here's a quick story too. I've had a lot of injuries. Okay. 2009. No, let me back this up. I was playing the basketball league. And I had started this bodybuilding program, right? And I got caught up. My homeboy was like, man, your quads is looking kind of small. And I was like, man, are you going there right now? He's like, what? Like, you probably can't lift more than me. I was like, bet. And see, right. You know, we in our 20s, man, them young 20s, boy, I'm telling you, man, them young 20s. You sometimes, man, them triggers, boy. So I was like, all right, cool. Let's work out in 6 weeks and let's see who got what. And he was like, all right, cool. So I wrote this whole program. I took this old program I had when I did put on like 30 pounds of muscle. I took it and I tweaked it for a time. Bruh. Man, I'm getting swole at this point. My legs are growing. My legs are rubbing together. I'm like, yeah. But then I had a basketball game, right? So I did legs on Tuesday. And I didn't really think anything of it on Wednesday. Because the game was on Wednesday night. I didn't think anything of it. But you know how DOMS is, right? Like, you know, it's usually that next day to where you start feeling it. So game was at 8 o'clock. No, I'm sorry. Game was at 7 o'clock. We were the second game. I showed up late because we was playing, you know, the number 9 team and we were the number 2 seed. I mean, we were super close with number 1. So I didn't think, I was like, I'll be fine. Nope. Go in on the fast break. Catch a ball, make this move, ACL. I didn't know it was an ACL though. Why? My pain receptors didn't really kick in. It didn't hurt like that. It just, I felt the click and it was weird. I didn't twist anything, whatever. It was just when I landed, I was like, oh, that's weird. Oh man. I was like, oh, that doesn't feel normal.
Yeah.
I was like, it's the second quarter. I'm good.
Yeah.
Right? So 2 plays later, I'm on the court. I go to like, I'm jogging down. I go to turn to run backwards. I fall down. I was like, dang. I didn't think it was the knee though. I just thought like, I just slipped. Right? Didn't think anything of it. Next morning, I was sore. Right? You know, you're like, oh man, you know, that knee, you know, I probably twisted it or whatever. Or, you know, I'm fine. Worked, did all this other stuff. Went overseas, played in his exhibition game, and knee buckled on me. Knee had never buckled on me before in my life, right? Same year. So then pushed it off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Didn't really have pain receptors. I even took a knee brace with me just in case, right? But I wasn't in like pain. Year and a half later, I'm playing volleyball. Right? I'm at Wash Park in Denver, Colorado. Oh, love that park. Playing volleyball. And man, I just remember sitting there and I was like, after we were done playing, I was like, man, something is wrong. Like rubbing I'm like, man, this actually kind of hurts right now. Didn't even know a friend of mine was a physical therapist. I had known her for like, you know, up to that point. I had known her for like a year and a half. Like I met her like right after I got back from Europe. And so she goes, man, are you okay? She's like, you were favoring that leg. I was like, you noticed? And she's like, yeah. She's like, I noticed. I picked up on it. And I was like, man, I wasn't really in pain. She's like, you looked like you wanted to, but I don't have any pain. And she's like, here, come sit down. Literally sat me in the middle of the park, sit down. Took my leg. She's like, here, do this. So she took my leg and she put me through an ACL test. Yeah. And she goes, I need to see you in my office tomorrow. And she's like, nope, never mind. Tuesday. Be Tuesday early in the morning because I don't have anything else going. I'm going to reserve this. I was like, okay. Sure enough, she put me through two more assessments. One of them was a stabilization assessment.
Yeah.
And then she put me through another table assessment. Mm-hmm. And she was like, you have a torn ACL.
Yeah.
And I was like,
wild.
What?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, dude, you have a torn ACL, bro.
Yeah.
And she's like, how the hell were you even playing? And I was like, we athletes, right? Like
exactly.
Look, man,
you're not thinking about that.
Look, we in middle school, you know, like you're like, oh man, my arm hurt.
You gotta go
like,
in.
Get back on the court. Suck it up, right? Like that whole suck it up culture. This is one of the reasons why me and suck it up culture, we just don't get along anymore. Yeah. Like we used to be so tight.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. I sucked it up, but I damaged my knee. And I'm like, I played games, like severe, like serious exhibition games, basketball, football, volleyball, right? I played in a and I'm like, and I played with a torn ACL this entire time.
The realization of that too, right? Because you're just like, man, and this is largely this is why it's important to pay attention to your body.
Yeah.
Why it's important to ignore suck it up culture, because you imagine like you could be an athlete like playing on something and it's holding you back, right? Because you could be doing way more, but you're playing with an injury that you don't recognize is actually keeping you from being your absolute best.
Yeah.
Right. So holistic training, right? Like it's really, really important to take care of yourself and take care of your body, because your body's the one that's in performance when you're an athlete, right?
It is totally just a difference in approach, right? Like it's just a total different approach, especially it's not popular. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not popular. It's not something that hits mainstream. It's not something that you see, you know, gym bro culture would kind of like talk about, right? Like they just don't. They just don't. But like, you know, when she pointed out the ACL injury, she was like, you're going on my calendar. And so, you know, going through physical therapy and a lot of the stuff that they did, even in physical therapy, a lot of the stabilization stuff, let's recalibrate your entire system. You know, like they did massage therapy. They did electro, I can't remember what it's called. Basically the electrodes where they stick on you. And
dude, that's the weirdest thing. They did it with my thumb. It
is weird. It's weird. The first couple of times you're like, yo, okay, wait, hold on.
It's like tense and tight. You're like, what is this?
It's one of those things where it's like, wait, I'm not controlling this. That's what's weird, exactly. Right? Like you're not in control. So it was real strange at first. But you know what? I'll even say this too. Like the PT was great. I love you, Karen. That was incredible. I'll never forget that as long as I live. Thank you for taking care of me. But the one problem, right, doing that whole suck it up, is that it had a domino effect, right? Because so it went from I had the knee injury, then it went to another injury, then it went to another injury because all the compensation, like you talked about that earlier, like the compensation that started happening during that time of the injury, I was putting too much stress in other areas.
That's right.
So by the time I got healed here, I didn't even address anything else after that. I was like, all right, I'm good to go. Boop, right back into sports. Just right back in. So now I'm just playing again. I didn't think about anything else. I'm
gonna make this real for the people too. Do you have a favorite athlete or somebody who you watch all the time, either NBA, NFL, they're always hurt? This is probably why, right? Because their body just, once you start doing that kind of damage, you start playing on it, especially when you do it for such a long time, it's really hard to get back to full strength when you're doing it so much and so often, right? And so it's just like, dude, you always hurt. Every year you get hurt. There's something wrong. This is why, because it's like it's
know
crazy.
Who I wish I could get into a lab is Anthony Davis.
He was in my mind when
and Zion too, actually.
Yep.
Zion. Just like thinking back, all right, the whole shoe thing that happened with Zion at Duke.
Yep.
From that point on, back injury.
Yep.
Just chronic.
Yep.
Boom, boom, boom. By the way, I'm just take this, right? Remember, acute, chronic. They're totally different, right?
Yeah.
Things that happen,
Explain that.
come and go, right? Acute is short time. Chronic is consistently. Right. So when we're talking about pain, because we are talking about pain right now.
Yep.
Right. When you're talking about acute pain, it's different than chronic, something that's been going on over time, longer period of time. I'm pretty sure. Oh, I wish Kara was here. I wish Kara was here. Oh man.
Yeah.
This would just go, man. But yeah, so like acute injuries and chronic injuries, AD has chronically been injured. He really does just need like an entire recalibration. Like he really does. Like he just needs an entire summer of light basketball and getting him to like working on stabilization, balance, and then up into strength, and then up into power, and then you know what I'm saying? Like he's man.
Yep.
Sad too. Like I love watching AD when he was in college, boy.
Yeah.
Even when he was in New Orleans. Crazy.
Dude, and that makes so much sense for so many reasons too, because and that's why athletes have such short lifespan, professional. When you're 34-year-old, right? Because it's just really difficult to do that so consistently at such a high level, like you said, and because like how much time, if you're making millions of dollars, how much time do you actually get to actually recalibrate? Right. You know what I mean? When in such a way that's actually going to benefit you and help, you're just going because you got to be ready for the next season. Yeah, you got to. I mean, the NBA 80 plus games. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah,
and that's not even involving the years the Olympics are going on.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like for example, this is why LeBron is so. He's like an anomaly. This is why he's an anomaly, right? You get an individual. Goes through the entire 82 regular season games, by the way, make deep playoff runs, leave, goes spend some time with his family. Then he has to be, I think it's in no. Yeah, the Olympic Training Center is in Colorado, but I don't know if USA Basketball always goes there or not. They do sometimes. So then it's to the OTC, and they're there until they get ready for the games. Well, then, you know, sometimes they'll go do some exhibition games against Canada or whoever else in Vegas. Then you get ready to go head back. You get ready to go head to the Olympics. And then, you know, like that summer's over. You only get pre-season. Like a couple months and then it's preseason. Like 8 weeks is short, y'all. Like that's not a long time.
That is not a long time.
That is not a long time.
Especially in the world of injuries and getting healthy.
And you got to think about it too, right? Like the average injury for basketball players, right? Like it usually, you know, average injuries take 4 to 6 weeks to heal. Right? So usually they go, hey, 6 to 8 weeks. Your 4 to 6 week window will close up and then we'll do some string stuff or whatever. Not like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say string because that means something totally different. We'll get you in some work, recovery work, mobile work, and then get you ready for the court, right? That's like 8 weeks. So
have some mercy on your favorite athletes.
Yeah, so if he's leaving an NBA season injured and then has to go play in the Olympics, he doesn't have time to actually heal.
Recalibrate.
So there's no healing process really. And they'll be like, well, you know, there's some downtime, bruh. No, you need to just shut it down. Right. So,
and we'll go a level deeper because you mentioned this when we first started this about the connection of what you think to all of this, right? Imagine throwing all of this and throwing on the mental health on top of it, right? And I've been looking more into this in mental health for a number of different reasons, just because I'm just, A, it's super fascinating. But B, I've just been learning a lot more about it. And the impact that the brain, what your mental health can do to you physically. And when you clear out, you know, your mental health, how it can improve your physical health. Right. And then there's obviously the level of nutrition that you put in your body, how it affects your body and proteins and all of the macros and all of that, and how that helps to stimulate your body to produce the right stuff, to give you the right physiology, to give you the right physical. Right. It's just stacks and layers.
It's all layers.
So I'm really curious to know your thoughts on that at a deeper level in terms of just the mental portion of all this, and how much of a factor that plays. And then obviously the social, you were talking about that earlier, when your mental health gets better, when you're getting that social stimulation, it really helps with your mental space, and things just start to improve. And then, physically you start to improve as well. I'm just really curious to know sort of what you, with
now, I am not a mental health I'm not a mental health professional. Okay.
It's not advice.
This is not advice. Okay. Let's clear this up. But I do believe that there is a strong correlation, right? Because if the brain is the headquarters for it all, right? And you start thinking about like traumas to the brain, that will slow the brain's processing down, right? So muscle contraction is part of the brain's processing. I'm sorry, that's not completely accurate, but you get what I'm saying, though, right? You need the brain to be on point for, your muscle contraction, or for the signals to get to your muscles, right? Like you kind of need your brain to be at a peak level.
Yep. I think,
so I've never studied, though, which I'm very interested in, brain's responses, not necessarily to trauma, but then to just minor social things where it's like, okay, I have a death in the family, right? Yes, like the death would be unmotivating, or the death would be something that would demotivate you, and then you don't go to the gym. But I would love to look into like
that's the obvious bit, right? Like
that's obvious, right? But like, what if you are going to the gym?
Exactly. Yeah.
Is the death, right, and how you're feeling about it, is that going to have an impact on your gains? Is that going to have an impact on your? I know it's going to have an impact on your performance, right? Like if I'm on the track, I mean, I've experienced that where it's like
you just ain't got it that day.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not there. It's not. We're not firing as fast as we normally would. It's just not happening. So that's the other thing too. Is like, it's not just about showing up. Like, am I actually performing at a peak level? Yeah. Right. Like, there's a difference when we're talking about that, right? Like the impact it has on you. Like to what level is it impacting? Right. Because like earlier, you know what I was saying, like acute versus chronic, right? Those are two different levels, right? How is the life event impacting my ability to peak? And is it like, what are the time variables when it comes to it being acute, chronic, right? So that's one of the reasons why I posted something about like the gym being a supplement for mental health, but not a cure for mental health. Right?
Yep.
Yes, acutely, absolutely. But for a long term, a longer situation, or like a long-term solution, right? You still need to have other pieces in place. Yeah. Right. And so I think it would be very interesting to find a study, see a study on individuals that have gone through life events that are extremely impactful, maybe even traumatizing. I don't even know if I want to go to level traumatizing, because trauma definitely impacts, for sure. Like we already know that. We know how much trauma impacts you emotionally, right? So, your emotions are stored there anyway. So like, of course it's going to impact you in the gym. It's going to impact you on the track. It's going to impact you on the basketball court, right? So we already know that. But how about what if we don't get to that point of trauma?
Yeah.
Like, what are other events that are not quite traumatic that can negatively impact your output, right?
Yeah.
And then even those situations where it's like, you know what, I've gone through these events. Is it best for me to just take a rest day and switch my day, right? Switch my workout. How long should I do that for? Should I cut my workouts for the week? Instead of going to the gym 5 days, I'm just going to go 2, right? Because of that neural input, right? Like a lot of your exercises when it comes to, you know, your major lifts and explosive movement, stuff like that, need neural input. So when you go through an event, am I going to have that? Yeah. If I don't have that, what am I going to compensate for it then?
Right.
What's going to be the domino effect after that? What's going to be the chain of command after that? Because, hey man, my neural input's there. That means the president's gone.
Right.
So who gonna take over?
Exactly.
Right. Who's gonna take over? And then, you know, when you start compensating, you're like, dang, now I'm risking injury. Is it even gonna be worth it? Right. Like, so that's why I say, you know, like with the 3-step, like stabilization, strength, power, like your neural input's gone. Maybe you should just tone it down. Right.
What percentage would you give it if you said no study's been done yet, or you haven't read one at the very least? What percentage would you give it of your mental health having an impact on your peak performance at the level that we're talking? Like, what would you, if you had to guess?
If I had to guess?
Yes, what percent? And I have a thought as well too, because I have 2 thoughts.
Man. I guess it would just depend on, I don't know, man. I'm writing that 40. I'm writing that 40.
Yeah.
I'm writing that 40. Yeah. I mean, I think there's some people who could finagle that a little bit and like push through. And I think that's another thing too. Like, we have individuals that are different. Every human being is different. So you can't really put like a box and a number to it, because certain events impact certain people different ways. You know, like me and my brother went through, you know, specific situations, or I'm sorry, like he and I had, but then like he and my older sister have, and they both
responded different.
Completely different. Completely different. Sister was like, oh yeah, whatever. My brother still holds on to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, nah, bro, that wasn't okay. You know what I mean? So you know, like, so it just depends on like what we looking at, like what happened.
I would agree with you there. And this is when you were talking about that originally, my original thought was there has to be some direct correlation, right? Because, and people could probably relate to this, right? Those moments where, you know, you have a flight or fight response, or you know, something falls on your leg and it hurts, and you find the strength to pick it up. And you're like, I don't know how I just picked up 500 pounds like that. You know what I mean? Or you hear moms saving their children, picking the car up because it fell. You know what I mean? Those kinds of things. That tells you like the brain has some clear, you know, direct way of being able to get you to peak performance. Obviously, those moments usually are instantaneous. It's like, could you wake up and just activate that at any given time? I don't know, maybe. But, you know, it's not something that you necessarily hear often, but you do hear of those moments happening, right?
So then we got to look at the definition of that too. So then would that actually be considered peak performance? Or is that just an emergency situation where your body goes adrenaline, red button, bam, get it done? It's either do it or die, right? Like, so it's like a red button moment versus like peak performance. You know what I mean? Like, when I think peak performance, I'm thinking, you know what? Like, all right, I have a planned event going on. I'm going to try and do the best to my ability. And, you know, I'm trying to maximize it, whatever.
That's true.
So, you know what I'm saying?
It's like it's conscious versus unconscious.
Yeah, exactly.
That means the subconscious must be, there's something there to be unlocked.
Hey, listen.
I choose to believe that.
That is something that's so that's ooh, man, yeah. That's a whole nother conversation.
You think about that too, right? I mean, the point of like especially when you're an athlete and you're playing a game, basketball, football. You know, the thing that people oftentimes will bring up in sports is, you know, do you have the killer instinct? Do you have that moment where you're not shaken by the moment, where the moment fuels you, right? So we're talking performance in that way, right? Yeah. Where people can training is to hopefully get you to a place, at least when you're talking about at a competitive level, is to get you to a place to where you do what you do, you use the skills, you do the thing that you've been training for, where it becomes subconscious or second nature. You don't have to think about it anymore. You can just do it. And so when it comes to those moments in games where you have to recall your training subconsciously, and in your mind, you shoot the ball and you're guiding it in some physical, some mental way into the net, right? You can kind of see it happening. You can feel it when you shoot. Anybody who's an athlete, when you're shooting, you know it. Sometimes you just know what's going in.
You know what's going in.
Yeah, just
there's
because,
no question.
So like all of these things, I think these highlight the idea that what you're saying, and you're making it more, you're bringing it back to the training level. Yeah. Can I go into the gym? How does my mental state of mind affect my performance in the gym in those training scenarios, as opposed to recalling those subconscious moments later when you have to recall that training and have it be second nature when you are trying to make the game winning shot. But it's so interesting to me. Okay. The second thought, maybe you can tie this in. Does it work the opposite way? Right. So you're in the gym, you hurt yourself, has an impact on your mental, right? We're thinking mental helps you perform, you lift that day, you get the most out of your performance because your mental health is right. But if your mental health is right and you don't have it physically, does it work the opposite way?
Okay, I can only speak from experience. Now, you remember like 2 years ago, right? I ruptured my patella tendon, right? This is my fourth major leg injury, right? Same leg, by the way. Remember domino effect? Didn't take care of the ACL. What else was happening, right? A lot of compensation that had been going on for years. Ruptured my patella tendon. Was I surprised? No. But was I messed up about it? Yes. Here I am. I was 41? Right? So you start thinking, there's a whole bunch of stuff you start thinking about, like once you get hurt and you're in your 40s.
What's the
and you're a coach.
Yeah.
Right? You're a coach. This is your livelihood. This is what you feel like you're called to do, and you're hurt. It's like you start questioning everything. You start questioning, man, like, should I hang this up? Am I even fit to even be one? Right? Like, how are people going to view this? Not necessarily like likes or, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
for me, because I know, like, I'm my own worst critic. Right?
Yep.
So my first thought was like, dang, how did I not address this? Dang, how did I not like see this coming? Dang, what if I did this? Dang, what, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, then when you have the surgery, right? Like when I had surgery and I was laid up on the couch, that's when it hits you the most.
Yeah.
You don't have access to any of the things that you had access to before. Right? Even that first 6 months, that first 6 months, even up to a year, I will even go to a year. It was tough. Yeah. It was really, really tough because you go through PT, they're giving you high praise. They're like, man, you're doing great. Man, you're doing great. And then you go to the gym and you realize, nah, great was relative in their conversation. They had relativity in their voice. They're like, you're doing great. But in their head, they're like, relatively speaking. Yeah. Or, you know, like in parentheses, it's like relative. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So then you go in the gym and you're like, no, I can't even do a leg extension with no weight on it. I can't even do a leg press. I can't even do a Bulgarian split squat. I can't.
I remember I was working on you. I just saw your face one day. You're like, dude, I really wish I could do that like with you. And I know exactly what you're talking about 100%.
Yeah. So even okay, I'll even take it another step. Like when I had a MCL injury, it was a contact injury in high school. I was trying to rush the process and get back so that I can like get back on the team before the playoffs start. Never happened. I'll never forget it. I went to try and touch the backboard. My brother took me to the gym. He's like, hey, get some shots up. I was like, cool. So I got my shots up. Free throws only, whatever. Tried to touch the backboard, couldn't touch it. Like imagine going from like dunking to not being able to touch a backboard. Bro, mental health, outdoor, drainage, drain. I didn't want to play basketball again. Literally. I got into college, right? I was in college and I was even taking a basketball class. No, let me rephrase that. I took a basketball class my second semester and they invited me to come like try out for the team next year. And I was like, no. They're like, but dude, you hoop. And I was like, yeah, I know, but no, I don't want to play no more. Like it took everything out of me, bro. Took everything out of me. Everything. So yeah, like that reverse, like, oh yeah, 100%.
Dude, it's so great how conversation moves because the last sort of highlight here, and we'll 100% do this again because there's so many, the intro alone.
I know.
And then there's just so many levels.
There's a lot.
The last sort of area that I kind of want to go in with this is developing or having or getting some understanding around perspective, right? Because we're talking about the mental health aspect. So putting yourself in a place where you are able to motivate yourself enough to get up and go to the gym. Number one advice I always give people about going to the gym, I'm like, develop consistency. Like, just go, just start going. Because once that's broken, it's really, really hard to get back. But that helps you build the determination that you need, helps you build the discipline that you need, and the perspective and the mental space to make sure that you can do it. So you start believing in yourself, right? And I find, obviously, in our world today, a lot of people are lacking in, there's a mental health crisis at many levels. A lot of that is knowledge-based. People don't understand. I think what's so unique about what you do and who you are is that you're interested in the connective tissue, intangible and tangible, and how that works, and building that perspective and helping people understand their bodies will give them some real input on how to become healthier holistically, right? And so what do you think about that, like in terms of where our social, in the social element, you started there as well, how that plays a big factor in creating, spaces for people in their own head internally where they can start to see these improvements in their life to where they can start getting to peak performance. Like what do you think is the most important thing, is probably a good way to phrase it, about holistic training, and what you think that would do to help sort of heal the world? Very deep philosophical question.
Man, you did take that super deep, didn't you? Because I was just going to keep it like strictly like gym related. I'm going to be real honest with you. If I were to take those three pieces and think, okay, in basketball, right? Whenever I'm scouting, right? Who's the X factor? You heard that before, right?
Absolutely.
Who's the X factor?
Yep.
To me, the X factor is the social aspect.
Hmm.
Even in life, right? It takes a village, right? Even in life. So even if you look at studies when it comes to fitness, right? Who are the ones that stick around the longest? Who are the ones that get, even if they don't, that's the thing. The community that sticks around the longest, even if they're not hitting all of their goal markers, are the ones that have found and developed community. They're the ones who have the lifestyle change, even if they don't see the weight loss drop in 2 years, right? Yeah. It's the habit forming. It's the ability to wake up. They have a why. The community becomes their why, because this whole health and fitness thing becomes bigger than themselves now. Yeah. It's not just about them. It's about the next person and the next person and the next person and the next person, because you're thriving off of each other. Yeah. Right? It's just like going to church, right? Like that community, man, you can't tell me Friday hit and you not thinking about Sunday already. Right. Like you thinking about Sunday, right? Because you the community, man, I wonder how he's doing. I wonder how he's doing. I wonder how she's doing. I wonder how they're doing, right? So it's the same concept even amongst the fitness world. That's why you see a lot of people who are in the group fitness classes. they're the ones who are the most consistent.
Yeah,
I mean,
team.
they're
team,
literally,
though.
they've literally become a team. And you know what? They take these classes specifically. And sure, maybe some of them aren't losing the weight like everybody else thinks they should be, or they're not, they're not doing powerlifting or heavy, reps like everyone else thinks they should be doing. But I can tell you one thing, they're living. Like you can see it all over their face.
Yeah.
I'm specifically looking at people right now. I see their faces right now. They walk in that gym and their faces just lit up. Their faces lit up. And they are consistent all the time. Seen them for 3 straight years, seen the same exact ones.
Yeah.
That's consistency.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? To me, consistency leads to longevity.
Yep.
And I don't think lifting heavy is, I don't think it competes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so it's
agree.
like, like that social aspect really does have a big factor into a lot of it. And, like for some people, some people are just like, oh, it should matter, but it just does. Like just the numbers show it. It just does. Even look at my man, who was an 8th grader, right?
Yep.
That X factor changed his life. And you know what? I wish I would have like taken a picture because he left us a note at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
He left us a note. And that's why I sit with that. Cause I'm like, dang, like he literally told us like it changed his life. His life.
Yeah.
We don't even know what was going on at the crib. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't know everything that was going on at home.
Yeah.
But he's like, nah, man, like this changed my life. And I was like, that's why when it came to, rebranding, I was like, nah, 360 is it. And we're going to base it off of this right here because that young man, watching what it did for his life, I'm like, yeah, it can do it for a lot of people's lives.
Yeah. I think what I like to say as well, too, and I'm glad we went here because it's really hard, especially in 2025 in our modern day world, to define success. In the gym, we call it results, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about, the kid, he got results. His grades start getting better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was the byproduct of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right. You start to focus on the right thing when you start to build those intrinsic values and you start to, which to me, community is an intrinsic value. I think we all have a desire for it, right? Like No Man's an Island, there's 1,000 billion quotes that talks about the importance of having a healthy social life. And I think when you have those things built in, you start getting results in a way, right? Because it's just byproduct. You're like, well, I can't miss. Right? I can't not go because my friends are there. Everybody's kind of expecting to see me. And just by virtue of being in the place, right? Soaking in the energy, making those connections, you're gonna see results. It's just the way that it works, right? Same thing with your physical health. If you work on it, you start to learn more about what it is that you're actually doing in your body, right? A lot of people go to the gym. To your point, they just go and they are looking to get big muscles. So they're not a success if they don't get big muscles. But if you look at it and you understand more about the body, what you're doing, not only will you find you will find and get the results that you're looking for, but the result that you get at the end will be more fulfilling.
Yeah.
Because you'll go, okay, I don't need big muscles. What I actually need is a little more definition, right? That makes me happier than the result I thought I was chasing when I saw the Instagram posts of the person I'm jealous of.
Yeah.
Really, right?
Yeah.
And so I think what you said is just, it really is a highlight in really what you do. And why I think it's so important. So I wanted to definitely create space and give you an opportunity to kind of really nail that point in, because I think that's really where that's the secret sauce to it all in my mind. And that obviously stretches to a lot of different areas, a lot of different areas of our life, right? Yeah. You said life, right? Healing, making sure your body is right. All of it's really the same idea. And just making sure that you have everything that you need. You're going in a direction that's going to actually be fulfilling in your life, in the way that you live and the people who are around you, essentially.
Yeah. And I'll end with this like last little bit too, from a trainer standpoint. That's where I think people struggle with when it comes to consistency, right? And I'm specifically just talking about getting in the gym, working out, going into like a strength training program or whatever, right? That part. It's hard to go into a bodybuilding regimen with a full-time everyday schedule.
Yeah.
Right? And I think a lot of people get that twisted, like, oh man, I got to get to the gym 5 days a week. Got to get there 6 days a week. You know, got to hit that back and bicep twice. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it becomes mentally struggling, right? Because you set yourself up for failure. You don't have 5 days a week to give. You working 80 hours. You got kids, a husband. Y'all got a house, some dogs, right? Like, you got property.
Right.
You got property you got to take care of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know what that means, right? Like, you got property. So it's like, it's important to have other markers, number one, other than just putting on muscle or lose weight, right? Think about what consistency actually is.
Yep.
Even if you set up 5 days, you know you ain't going to get there 5 days. What if you get there 3? That's success. Two days a week, that's success.
Yep.
Right? It's important to just understand realistic markers, having realistic expectations, right? Setting yourself up with a realistic, not necessarily goals, but a realistic schedule that you can keep, because when you do throw that 5 in there, and some people I know, I'm not going to name you. I know you. You miss 3 days, and that's like missing 3 free throws to them. They are just on themselves. And I'm like, you went 2 days out of the week. What you tripping for? Right?
Yep.
And then the next week come, and they're like, Chris, I didn't make 5. Did you make 3? I made 3. What you mad at?
Right.
Like, oh, but I admit, oh, you're a human being, number one. You a grown adult, right? Like, we live in America. Right?
Yep.
Hey man, they taught us time equal money. And that means your time at that job equal money, bro.
Exactly.
Like, you gotta be there. So you can't really replace that. And you have mouths to feed. So why you mad at 3? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, setting real expectations plays a pretty big, important part. And it's important for individuals like myself to understand how to manipulate the variables so that the programming for our people is not setting them up for failure before they even start.
Man, that is a word right there. I 100%. Like, you can't set those realistic expectations if you don't understand, right? The good book says wisdom's principle. Get the wisdom with all that getting, get understanding. So, dude, that's 100% the word right there, dude.
He started out the word, bro. We got more time. Can we flip it again? Can we flip it one more time? Y'all got time, right? Y'all got time.
Just do a little extra, like, you got to hit that sort of, there you go, a little fall there. But man, I appreciate you so much, dude.
I appreciate you having me, man.
I knew this conversation was going to be fruitful. We will do it again, 100%. I'm sure.
So much more.
If you guys are listening again, comment. That's definitely mandatory. I love to give the guest the final word. If you got anything you want to say to the people. But again, make sure you guys go follow Chris on the social media platforms. Look him up on Facebook. Get that knowledge. Pick his brain on some of these things, because it's not just physical health. It's not just looking good. It's not just Instagram. It's not just likes. This is seriously, how do I change my life? How do I get success? How do I get the results, right? Of what I'm looking for, what's going to actually benefit me, and what's going to make me feel the most fulfillment.
Yeah.
Right? How do I build that community, et cetera, et cetera? We can go on again for another 2 hours, but 100%. Go ahead and get the last word, dude.
No, I was just going to say, like, just to piggyback off of him and what he just said, like, don't hesitate to reach out. Like, that's one of the things, like, I don't think a lot of people understand where I sit in the personal training perspective is I'm big on two things. I'm big on community and I'm big on education. There's an individual on social media. He always says education is elevation. Mm-hmm. And that has couldn't be more true. I'm always about educating, helping people find education, get education. If you got questions, feel free. Hit me up. Like, don't even hesitate. Just hit me up. Just even if it's to talk about a set, a rep, or an exercise, an alternate exercise. Your mom wants to start working out. What should you do? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many nuances to this entire field and to exercise itself. So, like, don't ever hesitate to ask questions. Like, don't ever hesitate. The last thing I will say is this, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was going to say this or not. Don't forget, the human body is a system of systems, right? Just like your car is a system, just like a computer is a system. Mm-hmm. So you can recalibrate your body, your car, your computer, right? Start thinking about your body more of a system than it is a muscle, right? Mm-hmm. Think about, like, as a whole. And that's the holistic perspective that I give and I share a lot, right? Yeah. The whole entire body works together in conjunction with one another. 11 different major systems all working as one. It's a beautiful thing. It is so incredible. There's a whole lot of stuff that I could share. I know there's a whole lot of stuff Carrie could share. You know, like, we could all just be sitting and talking. But don't ever hesitate to reach out. 360 HP, 360 Health and Performance. Coach Chris, look me up.
There you go, man. Again, I appreciate you. Get that, learn that beauty, and you gain so much more appreciation. Yeah. Just like I appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate you, brother.
You know, we say, guys, there's 3 basic questions you can ask. You know, why do we think what we think, and how do we think it? You know, get into the meat of everything within your life, and you'll gain that understanding that we've been talking about here. And no matter what it is. So appreciate you guys. We love you. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you got something out of it. Commenting mandatory, liking, subscription is optional. And this is the end of this episode, but the eternal never ends.
We'll see you again.